Hey, Magic fans, welcome back. This is your captain speaking on Capnclyde's MTGs, and we're on spoiler alert. So, with that said, put your tray tables and your seat backs in a full upright position as we take off into the land of the future as we see more spoilers. So, it's holiday weekend. Not a lot of spoilers are out, so this won't take too long. So, before we get started, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you can see all the new stuff that comes out. Put some comments down below with your like. That way this feeds the algorithm so more people can see the channel, and it really helps support me. And also, don't forget, in the link below, there's my email for my store and the actual store link for my eBay page. As I do my box openings and so forth, all the cards that I open will go on sale on that eBay page. So buy with confidence, knowing you're going to get what you want. And when you see those really sweet cards get opened on the game, on the store, and on the channel, know that they can be yours. So here we go, guys, with Modern Horizons 2. So we'll start with the Glinting Creeper. We have a green and 4 colorless for an uncommon. He has Converge, so basically when he enters the battlefield, he gets two +1/+1 counters on it for each color of mana spent for it. He can't be blocked by creatures 2 or less. So basically, if you have a complete color combo being able to produce all 5 colors, you can basically make him a 10/10 plant. Now, with that said, though, you still have to pay 5 mana, so this is not going to see modern play. It costs way too much. There's no reason to cheat it out, because if you cheat it out, it's just going to die because you didn't spend any mana to cast it. This will be really sweet in draft, be a good powerhouse, but other than that, it's probably not going to do anything, guys. So, moving on. Next, we have the Cursed Totem, so 2 colorless rare artifact that says activated abilities of creatures can't be activated. This is an okay card. I don't think it's going to be all that great, because most activated abilities don't really matter per se, at least not enough to put this in your sideboard. However, EDH may find this really helpful with all those sweet commanders with all those really cool abilities on them floating around. This might be a thing that some people use if their actual EDH deck is geared that way. And depending on how the format goes, if there's activated abilities that matter in the modern era, as we start this new, era of play after the pandemic and we start getting back into modern, this could be a good card and it could really get out there. Reminds me a lot of things like Null Rod, but Null Rod covered a lot more than just creatures. So, I don't know. One thing this can do, guys, that I will tell you is activated abilities, things like tapping. This can stop a mana ability because it says it does, because it doesn't say that it can't. So I'm going to assume this would stop an elf. But normally after turn 1, the elf's already done its damage, so I don't think it matters. But just things to think about, guys. So I think it'd probably be about $5 rare best. Moving on, we have more living weapons. So we have Nettle Cyst. Cyst. It looks like a cyst. Anyway, it's 3 colorless. It's a living weapon, which means when it comes into play, you make a 0/0 black germ token. And this automatically equips to it, so the creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact or enchantment you control. So if you lay this by itself, it's only a 1/1. Not much better than that. But in Urza decks and things like that, this could easily come down on turn 3 or 4 as like a 5/5 or a 6/6. It could really get out of hand, guys. And the ability to equip this to Urza once the germ token dies and make him a real beast, just wow. This, and we're gonna see more living weapons as we go through these spoilers. I took a peek at them first. This may be one of the reasons that Stoneforge Mystic might be looking at getting another ban, because all these living weapons that you can cheat into play and basically make an army with a Stoneforge may be a bit too much. Now, with that said, there's plenty of removal, and I personally don't think that we need to do that. But some of these living weapons, kind of like Caldera Complete in the last video, that thing's just nuts if you cheat it out on turn 3, especially since it has haste. That may be the one that does it, but these extra ones that you can also do may also push it over the top to be something that has to go. Moving on, we have the Sea Drake, and that is I don't want to say it's ugly, because I do kind of like the way the waves are and things like that. It really harkens back to old style of Magic. I'm just not digging it, but maybe you guys do, and that's up to you. And if you do, then sweet. If you don't, I see where you're coming from. Anyway, so this is a blue and 2 for a 4/3 flyer. Sounds sweet. It says when Sea Drake enters the battlefield, return 2 target lands you control to their owner's hands. Ew. Um. So at first glance, I don't like the sound of this. It's going to be really hard to play this in draft because it's going to set you back so far in your mana development. But it is a 4/3 and it flies for 3. Now, with that said, this could be part of some weird combo slash shenanigans deck in Modern. Because you pick up 2 lands. If you have something to play, let's just put those 2 lands back down immediately. This thing is basically a 3 mana 4/3 flyer for free. And if you're combining this with things like Valakut and stuff like that, where you can pick up mountains, put them back down, rebolt your opponent again, like I do see possibilities for this. I don't think it's got to be real relevant to begin with, but we could see this actually be a thing, maybe 1 or 2 of to help a combo deck, or maybe part of a whole combo deck. But as of right now, I don't see it seeing any play, only because 3 mana for 4/3 makes you pick up 2 lands is just not good enough. So moving on. Next we have Fast and the Furious. Yeah, if that's not a promo off of a movie, I've never seen it before. I'm surprised I don't get taken to court over this one. Anyway, so for Fast we have a red and 2 colorless. It says instant, discard a card, then draw 2 cards. Not too shabby, kind of expensive. Furious Side says 2 red, 3 colorless for a sorcery. I probably should turn these. Head's all tilted trying to read this crap. Furious deals 3 damage to each creature without flying. And that's not so hot either. I think the only side of this that's really going to be doing anything is probably the fast side. And I think there's better ways to draw and discard cards for 2. That's going to make this probably not playable. And draft, I mean, unless the 3 power or a 3 toughness becomes a thing all through Modern Horizons 2, I don't see this being a big deal. But it is an uncommon, so you wouldn't expect much more. So we'll leave it at that. Moving on, we have Strike It Rich. I like the sound of this. So 1 red sorcery. It's getting better. So you create a treasure token. That's it. Flashback for a red and 2 colorless. Huh. Alright, so it seems very underwhelming, guys. I get that, right? But if you look at it as far as a ramp card, let's say, because that's what I'm seeing here. It's a ramp card. You basically can play an extra land as a one-shot. You can flash it back as an extra land for a one-shot. If you have shenanigans in your graveyard that lets you get something for taking stuff out of your graveyard, so forth and so on, this could be a thing. So this may be a thing, although because there's no draw or anything on it, I don't think it's going to see modern play. Maybe some EDH play. But honestly, it's going to take a little while to take a look at these and figure out if there's some kind of deck that can abuse this, because it seems like it could be abusable. But who knows? I mean, maybe this is going to be abusable in a Storm deck, because you spend a red to get a treasure token, so you basically storm up 1. You can flash back for 3, which means it really only takes you 2. So maybe this is abusable in Storm or some Storm-esque deck. So who knows? Moving on. Here we have Batterbone. 2 colorless, another living weapon. Once again, makes a 0/0 black creature. The equipped creature gets +1/+1, vigilance, and lifelink for 2. So you get a 1/1 vigilant lifelinker for 2 colorless mana. So all things said, that's not terrible. The equip for 5 is horrendous. So I don't think this is going to see modern play, just because the equip cost is ridiculous. And who would want to fetch this with everything else that's in that the Stoneforge Mystic could go get? In draft, it's going to be okay at best, because for 5, giving something +1/+1 vigilance and lifelink seems like it's overcosted, even if it's colorless, just because it's a lot of mana. That's my personal opinion, guys. So moving on. Next, we have Moderation. So this is Enchantment. It's a blue, a white, and a colorless. The picture's awful. Sorry about that. Didn't know how bad it was. Anyway, it says you can't cast more than 1 spell each turn, and whenever you cast a spell, draw a card. Now, this here looks like a thing. Because it says 1 spell each turn, so you can play a lot of instants, so you can get 2 spells a turn, and every time you play a spell, you draw a card. So, like, you never run out of things to do. So, this may be something that might slide into certain decks, like especially like, Azurius Control or Jeskai Control, that could really lock down the game by just playing this. Then then on their next turn, counterspelling the one thing they try to do, and then on your turn, board wiping, Then on their turn, you just go counter draw, counter draw, counter draw, lay my one thing, beat you in the face with it, counter draw, counter draw. Like I see a lot of potential in this, but it's really gonna take the right deck to really bring it out. Like especially like a deck full of planeswalkers. Because planeswalkers, it doesn't say anything about acting planeswalkers ability. It just says a spell. So you get 3 or 4 planeswalkers out, you play this, now you've locked your opponent out, and the planeswalkers just win. With that said, if you've got 3 planeswalkers on the field, I don't think you need this. It's more of a win more card. So we'll see how this develops in actual play. It may be good, maybe just an extra thing that's not necessary, honestly. But that's my personal thing. Now, you EDH players, I know you're looking at this and you're like, oh, this would be fun to play. I want you to know everybody at the table is going to hate you for it. With that said, put it in your deck because I want to hear the hate. So, moving on. Next, we have uh, whatever that says. So basically, that says track the desert, apparently. So it's 2 white and 3. It's a sorcery. Exile target creature card from your graveyard and create X 1/1 bird token creatures where X is the toughness of the exiled card. So this is awful. Um, I mean, it's going to be really good probably in draft, and there could be some EDH decks out there that could really abuse this. You put something in your graveyard that's got like 10, 12 toughness, and then you cast that and just make tons of dude with like Anointed Procession or whatever, any other things that doubles the number of tokens you get whenever you cast something like this. And you end up making like 24, 30, or 50 million tokens and just win because you just swarm everybody. Um, yeah, could be a thing in EDH, maybe even in draft because it makes lots of dudes out of tough in your graveyard, but not gonna see modern play. Probably won't be worth a whole lot either, unless the Anointed Procession deck gets a hold of this and drives the price up. So that is the end, guys. Thanks a lot for your time. Like I said, not very many cards today. It's the holiday weekend. Probably won't see a whole lot tomorrow either. I will put up a video tomorrow of some really sweet stuff. I'll figure out something to put in there for you. With that said, LGSs are open, guys. Go out, support your local game store. Buy something from your local game store. Wizards got enough money. Uh, Support the vendors, anybody else you buy from, whoever it is. Hit those small stores up. Support your locals. Now, with that said, also remember as we get back into these stores, we start playing with each other again in person. Giggity. Um, be nice, guys. Let's brew and make a friendly Magic the Gathering community, not full of all the hate and negativity that you often hear and hurting people's feelings and stuff like that. It's just not necessary, right? You know, unless it's me. If you want to yell at somebody, you're welcome to yell at me because I don't have any feelings. So, with that said, guys, thanks a lot for your time. This is your captain speaking, and until next time, remember to be kind, and I'll see you guys on the game tables.